respect this president. I don't think that he deserves to be president of this great country. I am very concerned about him, and I really think he's dangerous.
For those who still seek to violate our laws and enter the country illegally, let me be very clear. Don't come. Please don't come. When you are caught, you will be detained, adjudicated, and deported.
I have great respect for the president of China.
It's time to make America great again. Join the movement. Neil A. Carousso, The Neil A. Carousso Show. Time to dream big. Informative, insightful, and valiant leadership. Telling it the way it is to make a difference.
As we approach the 100th day of the Trump presidency, tax reform and healthcare are at the top of the legislative agenda. They are going to be worked on. We're expecting an announcement this week. Welcome to the Neil A. Carousso Show, everyone, and happy Sunday to you on this 23rd of April, a sunny day here in New York, and we appreciate you tuning in from wherever you are in the country and around the world on neilacarousso.com. So the first steps for tax reform are being put into fruition. This week, President Trump announced that next week there will be a big announcement on that. But he signed an executive order and 2 memoranda this past week to tackle financial regulations and start looking at ways to ease the regulatory burden on both corporations and on individuals and reducing the tax rates. This week, Steven Mnuchin, the U.S. Treasury Secretary, met with President Trump and spoke to the media at the Treasury Department in Washington.
Today's executive order launches a re-examination of last year's major tax regulations to make sure they do not unduly strain Americans and the economy. The order calls for revision or repeal of harmful rules that impose unnecessary costs and complexity on taxpayers. I look forward to taking a hard look at the immense regulatory burden of our tax code, which consumes billions of productive hours in compliance costs. A significant amount of time has passed since the crisis. With the passage of time and with your leadership, we are now well positioned to evaluate what works and what doesn't. We believe in clear and effective regulations, but not regulations for its own sake.
So again, Steven Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary there with President Trump behind him at the Treasury Department. Now, for what's going to happen next? Well, it seems like they're going to tackle corporations and reducing the corporate tax rate, which President Trump wants to bring down to 15%. That would allow companies to hire more American workers, part of his pledge to buy American and hire American, and more on that in just a second. But this big tax reform announcement that's going to come next week will most likely deal with the corporate tax rate, also repatriating money, about $2 trillion that is stored overseas by corporations. If you repatriate that money for what Trump said during the campaign for a low tax rate of 10%, those companies will be investing in America, and we've already seen billions of dollars being invested in the United States to create American jobs. Also, assessing and simplifying the tax code. The tax code is 4 million words long. That is longer than both the Bible and the Constitution combined. And I think the Declaration of Independence as well, all combined. The Bible is only 800,000 words for comparison. And the tax code with onerous provisions in there costs taxpayers, $6.1 billion a year to comply with the tax code. So simplifying the tax code, and we just finished tax season, and so that right on taxpayers' minds in terms of that. And then lowering the cost on them so that they can save their own money and invest it how they like, not how the government likes. Consumer confidence is at the highest mark since 2009, and President Trump was at Snap-on in Wisconsin, a state that he won in a pretty decidedly fashion. First president to win there since Ronald Reagan, and he recommitted his Buy American, Hire American pledge.
And I'm proud to announce that we are about to take bold new steps to follow through on my pledge to buy American and hire American. This historic action declares that the policy of our government is to aggressively promote and use American-made goods and to ensure that American labor is hired to do the job. It's America first. You better believe it. With this order, I'm directing every single agency in our government to strictly uphold our Buy American laws, to minimize the use of waivers, and to maximize Made in America content in all federal projects. Right now, widespread abuse in our immigration system is allowing American workers of all backgrounds to be replaced by workers brought in from other countries to fill the same job for sometimes less pay. This will stop. American workers have long called for reforms to end these visa abuses, and today their calls are being answered for the first time. That includes taking the first steps to set in motion a long overdue reform of H-1B visas. Right now, H-1B visas are awarded in a totally random lottery, and that's wrong. Instead, they should be given to the most skilled and highest paid applicants, and they should never, ever be used to replace Americans. No one can compete with American workers when they are given a fair and level playing field, which has not happened for decades. We're using every tool at our disposal to restore the American dream. In America, we honor work. We honor grit. We honor craftsmanship. We honor the men and women who turn dreams into reality with their own two hands. In America, we honor all of you. We are a nation of builders. We are the country that dug out the Panama Canal, that put a man on the face of the moon, and that linked our cities with majestic railroads and curving highways. We are the country that is always on the cusp of the next invention. But we can only get there with all of you. We can only restore this nation we love so much by working and building with all of you. We can only get there together. We are the one people sharing one destiny, saluting one great, beautiful American flag.
So restoring American pride, American ingenuity, and also applauding blue-collar work and promoting that within our country. And that's the message from President Trump. Now, within that message, you heard about H-1B visas. The H-1B visa program, which has, like President Trump said, been a lottery ticket, the way it has been implemented. Well, President Trump wants to implement that a different way. He says, well, we're going to hire foreign workers, hire high-skilled foreign workers, not just any random foreigner coming into our country that would steal American jobs. So if we're going to have to hire a specialist, then we'll hire a specialist. But for the most part, let's give those jobs to people who are out of the labor force. 95 million Americans who are out of the labor force, and lowest labor participation rate since the 1970s under President Barack Obama. Now, healthcare also on the forefront of Americans' minds. It seems right now that Mark Meadows, who's the Freedom Caucus chair, is in negotiations with Senator Susan Collins, a more moderate Republican from Maine. They're talking in ways to make sure that both facets of the Republican Party are represented in a new amendment to the American Health Care Act. And it seems like that may be proposed as soon as next week or the week after as well. They're also saying they'll mark it up in the Senate before appearing in the House budget reconciliation as it did the first time around. Those are the two top legislative agendas. So far, no big legislation has been passed into the president besides executive orders. So those are the two things on American minds, and we'll see what happens as the days go forward. So now, coming up on the Neil Carousso Show, a busy Sunday.
I see there are a lot of people that do have respect for this country and for our president. There are a lot of people that do not have respect for our country, our flag, or our president. And it's disheartening, and it's shameful to me.
Yesterday, we spoke with that Vietnam veteran and adoptive Italian out of Long Island, New York, about how they support our troops. Plus, immigration. We take your Skype calls. I'm Neil A. Carousso on Skype. We'll be right back.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. At work or at play, you're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Oh, hey. She's cute. Nice going, man. Things are going great for you. You've earned a night out. Good drinks, good friends. Yeah, we can go ahead and call this a good night. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Not smart. Yeah, I saw that coming. Say goodbye to her. Ouch, that'll hurt your bank account. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. I hope you like eating frozen dinners. Alone. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When it comes to saving money,
What?
don't act like a baby.
Oh, it's like they're having their own little meeting. This is so humiliating.
Be the boss.
I'm the boss.
What the?
Power nap. You were saying.
And make a budget.
Let's get to work.
Need a little help?
Stacy, read back the notes.
I can't read. What's it say?
Create a personalized savings plan and get other tools and tips
We can share.
You obviously didn't go to business school.
at feedthepig.org.
Hey, Gabby, how you doing? How's the play date and sleepover?
Dad, it was great.
Awesome. Okay, I'm on my way. Hey, guys, what are you doing?
We're going swimming. We're going biking. Yeah.
I'll see you in a little bit, guys. I love you.
Hi, babe. How was school today?
Hi, Dad. It was great.
Okay, honey. I'll be home soon. Remember, you're never too far away from your kids to be a dad. Reach out and take a second to check in, because sometimes the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Everywhere that
Are you looking to reach more customers in an efficient and inspiring way? Looking to take your business to the next level? NextCore Media is your one-stop digital and internet solution. We help you create your website, optimize for search engines and social media, and even produce original content for your business with our outstanding production team. The best part is, we manage all of it for you, so you don't have to worry about one thing. Start making your modern business solutions today. Visit nextcoremedia.com and get started.
It's time to open the dialogue. Grab a cup of coffee and chat with Neil A. Carousso via Skype.
All right, we're back on the Neil A. Carousso Show. So, enforcing our laws has been a mainstay of President Trump's agenda, and really just those that are on the books. Now, both General John Kelly, the Homeland Security Secretary, and Jeff Sessions, the Attorney General, visited the border this week, the southern border, that is, and taking a temperature of what's going on down there, where illegal immigrants have flown into our country, although the numbers have been down under the Trump presidency. They're saying about 80% have been deterred from crossing the southern border illegally. But there are still gang members and rapists and drug dealers in our country that have been deported. Now, this week there was some controversy. A dreamer was detained and deported, and there was a big hoopla about that because President Trump, in an interview with the Associated Press this week, said that dreamers can, quote, rest easy. Now, this so-called dreamer under the DACA Act, the deferring children from being deported, that if they came under a certain age, this was passed by President Barack Obama, they left out a key core of the story there. There were 4 convictions that this dreamer had on his record. For convictions, therefore, a criminal, illegal alien was deported under Trump's enforcement of immigration laws. That's what the law in the book says. Now, here is Homeland Security Secretary General John Kelly. He's in San Diego at the border there on Friday.
The Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Justice enforce the laws passed by the United States Congress. That includes our immigration laws. These laws exist to keep our people safe and our nation sovereign. Both the Attorney General and I are serious about border security and enforcing our immigration laws. In accordance with the executive orders signed earlier this year by our President, we have ended dangerous catch and release enforcement policies. We have significantly increased detainers for deportation, and we have arrested more criminal aliens. We will continue to expand our approach to deterring illegal migration. That includes constructing a physical barrier, supporting it with technology, and patrolling it with dedicated and professional men and women of DHS. It also includes our approach of prosecuting anyone who pays traffickers to smuggle people into our country. That includes especially those who smuggle children, including family members that smuggle children or pay to have them smuggled. Human smuggling across our border puts individuals, especially children, at great risk of assault, abuse, and even death at the hands of the smugglers. There's nothing the Attorney General and I want to do more than put human smugglers out of business, and we will do everything in our power and within the law to do just that.
General John Kelly there, Homeland Security Secretary, and sanctuary cities have been targeted as well under the Trump administration, those jurisdictions who do not comply with federal law. Now, the Justice Department sent letters to mayors who are not complying with the federal government. Now, in the past, they have said, we will withdraw your funding. Obviously, that has been met with sharp criticism from liberal mayors. And they've been criticizing the Justice Department's directive to get rid of their sanctuary city policies that harbor criminal illegal aliens that don't just hurt the U.S. citizens in the area, but also lawfully abiding immigrants in those cities. So here is Attorney General Jeff Sessions, who said in San Diego that either come lawfully or don't come at all.
These jurisdictions have until June 30th to send their legal justifications for why they are not in violation of federal law, and the state of California is one of these jurisdictions. California is no stranger to transnational gangs, and neither is New York. MS-13 was founded in Los Angeles and is on the rise now throughout the whole country, enriching themselves by peddling poison drugs in our communities, trafficking children for sexual exploitation, children as young as 12 years of age, and inflicting horrific violence in the communities where they operate.
MS-13 gang members have been detained and deported. You see that by the weekly reports that the White House is putting out. Now, the MS-13 gangs come from El Salvador, they come from Guatemala, most of them from El Salvador, Honduras as well, and they come up through the southern border. And that's why it's so necessary to have a deterrent there, and then also in hiring more immigration officers and hiring law enforcement and giving them the tools and the support they need to do what their job is in terms of law enforcement. It's called law and order. So that's where the Trump administration is at, is basically just enforcing our laws and increasing surveillance at the border and ensuring that people aren't coming in unlawfully. Unfortunately, that has been met with sharp criticism from liberal snowflake mayors, shall I say it, from cities like New Orleans, where the mayor there called this a civil deportation force. Really? And then the Chicago mayor, Rahm Emanuel, ironically, when he should be all for law and order in a city that has seen record murders and record shootings in 2016, well, Rahm Emanuel said, we've seen the letter from the DOJ. Neither the facts nor the law is on their side. Really, U.S. Code Section 1182, the U.S. Constitution, federal laws are supreme, means nothing to you? Regardless, let me be clear, this is Emanuel speaking. Chicago's values and Chicago's future are not for sale. Chicago's values, are their values different from American freedom and American sovereignty and all those that fight for freedom that we'll talk about in our next segment or making a different segment today? Are they different from the United States, that Chicago doesn't believe in protecting our U.S. citizens first? Emmanuel's office says Chicago wants to be seen as a welcoming city for immigrants, but it's not that welcoming when those immigrants are the target of the criminal illegal aliens who are retaliating against those that the government says, or the state government says, that they're going to protect. Now, just to give you the facts here, Chicago murders in 2017, so far, year to date, 160. What were the record numbers in 2016? 163. So just three murders off from the record numbers of 2016, and we're only on April 23rd. Chicago shootings, 704 year to date. Last year, 786 shootings in the city of Chicago. True carnage. Mayor Bill de Blasio in New York City says we're not soft on crime, despite being the state that has the most immigrants and the most illegal immigrants, and they're highly populated in New York City and Long Island, east of the city. So Mayor de Blasio saying that we're not soft on crime, okay, then get those criminals out of the country. Not just out of the public housing, but also deport those and work with federal law enforcement. So that's where we're at. The California Senate leader, another liberal snowflake, Kevin DeLeon, calls the Sanctuary City letter that Attorney General Jeff Sessions wrote, calls it white supremacy. Really? Okay. So now this has nothing to do with American citizens, only white American citizens? See how they play games here. It's really unfortunate that we can't just enforce our laws without being met with sharp criticism. I wonder if we had a different president that wanted to enforce our laws, and Barack Obama, who was nicknamed the deporter-in-chief at one point, if that would make anyone think twice about President Trump's orders if it was under a different president. All we're doing is enforcing our laws. So it's kind of ironic here to hear that kind of rhetoric coming from politicians and lawmakers who work for us, who are supposed to uphold the law. Not create law, but uphold the law. And it was funny because General John Kelly said this week, lawmakers, they write the law. If you don't like the law, then change the law. Otherwise, shut up and let us do our job. And I'm paraphrasing, but he did tell lawmakers to shut up as we do our job. The border is, as we've had on this program, we've had immigration agents on the podcast, and we'll have her on soon, Tanisha Tingle-Smith of the State Department. It's pretty clear that it's under the president's authority to make sure that American citizens are safe. And if you look at the numbers, those that are being deported are criminals that are living in our communities. Like I said, gang members, rapists, drug dealers, murderers. And we've had on our previous show where we go through recent crime that's happening right in our communities, and they're being protected and harbored by the local governments. So my message to all the mayors out there, enforce our laws, don't bicker on every little thing, and that'll be kind of the topic of our Real Deal segment later on. But let's get to the quote of the day, shall we? Today's quote of the day comes from an American writer, a novelist, women's rights advocate as well, Pearl S. Buck, who said, quote, "If you want to understand today, you have to search yesterday." So, makes you think a little bit on this Sunday. When we come back, our Making a Difference segment, supporting our troops. Adopted Battalion of Massapequa Park, New York, does tremendous work to help those who serve currently and our wonderful veterans. And President Trump took some actions this week in terms of veterans' health care. That's when we return on the Neil A. Carousso Show. It's a rhetoric. Things get lost in the rhetoric every day. And people are not getting quality health care. Millennials here tell me that they're concerned with climate change. And his motto is simple. Be the best you.
You always had that in the back of your mind for you was going to be the next one to be called up.
You should be voting based on the issues.
The issues that I care about, that Trump cares about, that America cares about, are not necessarily the most glamorous.
An all-American soccer star prepares for her pro career.
Here's your check. You got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. God, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early. You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
President's greeting. This is to certify that the President of the United States of America has awarded the Purple Heart, established by General George Washington at Newburgh, New York, August 7, 1782, to Sergeant First Class Alvaro Barrientos, United States Army, for wounds received in action on the 17th of March, 2017 in Afghanistan.
So I heard about this and I wanted to do it myself. So congratulations on behalf of Melania and myself and the entire nation. Tremendous job. Congrats.
Round one.
President Trump visited the Walter Reed National Medical Center in suburban Maryland yesterday, where he personally presented a Purple Heart to one of our brave heroes who served in Afghanistan and lost his leg, Sergeant First Class Alvaro Barrientos, suffered a leg injury while serving in Afghanistan. And the war rages on there in Afghanistan. We have to remember those who are still serving for us. And that's what Adopt a Battalion does every single Saturday, where they send stuff off, both the non-perishable items. They also send goods over to our troops who are currently serving. Now, just want to leave you with this quote as we go into this feature. The day before D-Day, June 5th, 1944, General George S. Patton said famously, quote, "An army is a team. It lives, sleeps, eats, and fights as a team." Well, how fitting for this team, a battalion in Long Island, New York, who, as we get into National Volunteer Week, gathers to truly make a difference. On early Saturday mornings in Massapequa Park, New York, proud patriots aligned to send non-perishable food items and hygiene products to the brave men and women currently serving in the U.S. Armed Forces to protect American values, freedom, and sovereignty against the evils in the world that threaten our core democratic values.
I mean, I feel like the people that come down, every week or twice a month, they know what they're going through. And, they don't drop stuff off, for a tax write-off or any of that stuff. I mean, they kind of feel the same thing that we do. If they're over there.
Brian Parker's brother is a decorated Marines commanding officer in the Weapons Training Battalion. Colonel Timothy Parker is the inspiration for Adopt a Battalion's initiation.
2004, my brother was actually doing his first tour in Iraq. And he was, writing letters to them back and forth. I miss this, I miss that, about being home. And I think he actually wrote a list of some of his favorite items that he missed. Everything from candy to clean underwear, clean socks. So they actually put together what's known as a care package, just, some sentimental things from home. And they mailed it to him. And he loved it, obviously, you know, because it reminded him of being home. And then I believe the guy that was next to him said, you know, hey, what is that? And he goes, oh, it's, you know, it's this package. My parents put it together, blah, blah, blah. And I think he pretty much said, well, can they make me one? So I think word got back to my parents, and then they actually sent him one, and then it just kind of took off from there. I mean, my brother's in the Marines, but we ship to every branch. It doesn't matter. You know, if you're over there, you deserve a package. Absolutely. The least we can do.
The past 13 years, Adopt a Battalion has shipped over 40 tons of goods directly to servicemen and women who share the items with their battalions. Like Colonel Parker, many of our troops have expressed their gratitude for the basic needs in letters.
I mean, that kind of, I guess, set the wheel in motion with that letter saying, you know, how appreciative he was. Kind of got him, you know, in a different mindset. You know, he obviously wasn't thinking about, you know, the war at that time. I mean, you know, there was pictures of, you know, the family and a letter in there. And I think that that's what these, you know, these men and women need. And I mean, obviously, since this is a charity, nobody gets paid. Everybody gives up their, you know, their time. And, you know, our thank you, our paycheck is those thank you letters, because 9 out of 10 of those people, I would say even 10 out of 10 of those people, we're never going to meet. But to receive a thank you letter from those people, you know, it's the greatest gift in the world.
I'm taken back by all of them. I think probably the individual letters, the ones from the field soldier, because it's directly from them. It's not from the commanding officer just thanking us in general, you know, for serving his company or battalion, but it's the individual guy. And I don't know, it's like you turn to something like this here, you know, handwritten notes. This one is from Commander Jennifer Gilhooly. She took the time to write a handwritten note and send it out. Now we probably sent, maybe 200 boxes to this particular soldier, Jennifer over there. And since she's now back in the States, thank God, safe and sound. And but as they finish their tour of duty, we ask them to please inform us who their replacement soldiers are or the replacement groups are, so that we can continue sending them. Because what happens is, if we send them for 6 months or 7 months, and then all of a sudden their deployment is up, they come back, the post office will not give them to any soldier as we request. They send them back to us, undeliverable.
So when you send goods over there, are you sending it to a battalion or are you sending it to individuals?
No, we send it to an individual in the battalion.
Oh, okay.
So what they do is when they receive it, then at mail call or soon after, they distribute the contents of that box to the members that's in their battalion or the squad or group, whatever.
So you really make that personal touch.
Definitely, yes. It's directly to a soldier over there.
Yeah. Adopt a Battalion President Richard Olson is a U.S. Navy Vietnam veteran who continues to serve our country.
By personal experience, I know what it was like to be away from home, especially during the holidays, halfway around the world, fighting an enemy that you couldn't see or that you didn't know really was the enemy, although in my case, the enemy was well defined. You know, we knew who we were fighting. But I understand the hardships that these men and women go through. And again, these are all volunteers. They volunteered to give of their time, the first part of their lives, to serve their country. They weren't drafted. And basically that's what we do here. We volunteer to help them to try and bring a little bit of comfort and joy and a little bit of home to them in the field.
Last year, Adopt a Battalion sent 1,972 boxes to our troops stationed overseas. The goal is to surpass 2,000 boxes in 2017.
It's really a great thing to think that you're helping out these young men and women who are giving so much of their time. I mean, what we do doesn't compare to what they're doing for this country.
A lot of people think that we just do this for Veterans Day and Christmas. It's year-round, and I mean, you know, every year that we ship these packages, we obviously wind up with a number by December 31st, and we try and, you know, improve from that.
What started as a small family organization built by Brian Parker's late father has transcended into a grassroots community effort to support our troops during a time of vitriolic anti-war and disrespectful rhetoric aimed at the U.S. military that has been under a budget sequester since 2011. President Donald Trump has vowed to end the defense sequester and rebuild the dilapidated military equipment to accomplish a Reagan-esque peace through strength policy.
There was one event which, you know, I won't drop the name on that we did, and we're not a part of it anymore. But a lot of people came by the table, cursed us out, cursed the military out, and they were screaming, bring them home. You shouldn't be doing this. Bring them home. And I said to them, hey, if I had a button that I could push to bring everybody home, I'd do it, because they don't want to be over there either.
Currently, half of the U.S. Navy F-18 Hornets cannot take to the skies, and up to 75% of U.S. Marine Corps jets are grounded. Roughly half of United States Air Force B-1 bombers are out of service as it awaits spare parts. And due to a shortage of spare parts and lack of military manufacturers, many of U.S. military jets have flown well past its expected lives.
During the Vietnam War, there was no respect at all for the soldiers fighting in Vietnam. I can tell you that from personal experience. As far as today, I see there are a lot of people that do have respect for this country and for our president. There are a lot of people that do not have respect for our country, our flag, or our president. And it's disheartening, and it's shameful to me, and it's not the way it should be. I mean, if you're an American citizen, you should show your American citizenship, show your patriotism to your flag and your country.
What's your message to people, young or old, that don't show respect for the country, for the flag, for our president, as you said?
If you're not happy, leave. Nobody's holding them here. Nobody's got a ball and chain around their ankle saying they have to stay in this country. If they don't like it, they can go to a country of their choice and see how it is to live under their rules and regulations and their laws.
An incredible story there, and really a great Saturday morning with Adopted Battalion there at Massapequa Park, Long Island, New York, and Dick Olson, who you just saw at the end there, is a Vietnam veteran, and I shook his hand, thanked him for his service, because frankly, they're not given a lot of respect. And when I talk to veterans, I always ask them, do you feel respected? Do you feel loved by the country for which you gave up your entire life for service? And some of them say, yeah, some people, and some of them say, we don't get enough. Or I don't feel, I have my personal issues, or whatever it may be. And what's amazing to me is that after giving up his life for service in Vietnam, Dick Olson is still serving our troops, and that's their motto. And every Saturday, there's a group of volunteers and a couple of young people there too, who I was really impressed by. And they gather on Saturday mornings early, bright and early in the morning, rain, snow, sleet, or shine. They're there, and they're putting together care packages for our veterans. So incredible. And by the way, a thank you to Nick Hintz, who did an incredible job editing the feature, and a great job there by my team, as we do a lot here to support our veterans, and it's so important. And if you have any stories of a veteran or any military stories, feel free to send that along. You can find our contact information, the contact page, on neilacarousso.com. Now, earlier this week, President Trump took action to deal with veterans' health care, and he signed an executive order that you will see as he signed at the White House earlier this week.
The veterans have poured out their sweat and blood and tears for this country for so long, and it's time that they're recognized, and it's time that we now take care of them and take care of them properly. That's why I'm pleased today to sign into law the Veterans Choice Program Improvement Act. So this is called the Choice Program Improvement Act. Speaks for itself. This bill will extend and improve the Veterans Choice Program so that more veterans can see the doctor of their choice. You got it? The doctor of their choice. And don't have to wait and travel long distances for VA care. This new law is a good start, but there is still much work to do. We will fight each and every day to deliver the long-awaited reforms our veterans deserve, and to protect those who have so courageously protected each and every one of us. So we've made a lot of strides for the veterans. These are like the most incredible people we have in our country as far as I'm concerned, and they have not been taken care of properly.
That's for sure, and they are the most incredible people among us, and they deserve our respect and admiration. They are truly our heroes. And if you look at some of the veteran statistics that we have in terms of how many are unemployed, You have veterans who are homeless. 31 to 50 is the largest age group of those who are homeless, and 495,000 unemployed, all from the Bureau of Labor Statistics and the VA data here. And those who are homeless on a given night, almost 40,000 of our veterans, and they deserve to have a home. They deserve to be loved and cared for, and they deserve great health care. And you saw in one of those pictures there, the map, and they have a large population on New York. So a great job by Adopt a Battalion in Massapequa, and they send all of these care packages over to our troops who really deserve it. Because even if you talk about those who have come home that are not given respect, well, how about those that are currently serving? And that's why I made it a point to ask about those who are serving and with such anti-war rhetoric and and really vitriol coming from many on the left about the fact that we're still fighting. And we have troops serving not only in Afghanistan, we have troops stationed in Syria, just trying to keep the peace there and maintain that. And so this order by President Trump, which I greatly applaud, and listen, I support our president, but even before that, listen, I've been critical of things for sure, but this is something that a couple of weeks ago on the podcast I said that if we didn't have this key provision to deal with veterans' health care, to forget about our health care. Yeah, our health care is a mess. But how about veterans that should be receiving health care for free? They should be able to go to any doctor that they want. Listen, I need U.S. citizenship, but our veterans should be getting health care. If they want to go to a private hospital, they should be allowed to go to a private hospital and then given payment by the government. So with this Veterans Choice Program Extension Improvement Act that President Trump signed earlier this week allows our veterans to receive private sector health care paid by the government. Now, the Veterans Choice Program was enacted in 2014 amidst the wait time scandal. And as you know, the suicide rate among veterans has surged 35% since 2001. And veterans have waited online, especially in the VA in Arizona and other places across the country. And we've seen conditions at the VA be so disgusting, and we've talked about a doctor who blew the whistle on wait times and the scandal, and he was prevented from seeing patients after what he just wanted to do is make sure that our veterans who served our country are treated properly. Now, again, the Veterans Choice Program, it provides private care for vets living 40 miles from a VA site, and 1.5 million vets have made 7 million appointments since it was enacted in 2014. This legislation that President Trump signed, bipartisan support, I'd hope so, and this deals with making sure that veterans are given the health care that they truly deserve. So a good job by our President and Commander-in-Chief. When we come back, we'll take your Skype calls at Neil A. Carousso on Skype, and then later on, it's snowflakes versus the United States of America. Why are they standing in the way of progress when we have all of these issues to contend with, like North Korea, who wants to put us to ashes, is a statement that they released this week. We'll cover that for you right here on the Neil A. Carousso Show as we roll along on this Sunday from New York.
Everything starts out small. The things that hurt us.
So the Neil A. Carousso Show is going to be a show all things about news and politics, and it's really an exciting time for politics. We just got out of a really heated election, and Donald Trump was elected the 45th President of the United States. So we'll be covering the Trump presidency through it all each and every week on Sundays at noon right here from my office / our new studio. And we'll be talking about everything that, and analyzing Trump's plans and talking about how things are shaping up for the country. I really love the United States. I really love this country. And I want to make sure that we truly do make America great, because if Donald Trump succeeds, then the whole country succeeds, which Obama said, and we need to come together as a country, and hopefully this show can make some sort of impact, and we really want to make a difference here. My goal for this show is also to create dialogue, because too often people hide behind a computer or cell phone and they really don't connect with people. They only talk to people they agree with, and if you're a conservative, you're considered a racist, that ends the conversation. Believe me, I've been there. So what I want to do here going forward is to create dialogue and to have a conversation. So people are going to be able to call in, want to have a wholesome conversation and really create dialogue that could make some sort of difference in the community. And I think if we just talk together, and if we just have conversations about things without making accusations that are nonsense, we could really do some good in the United States. So that's what my goal for the Neil A. Carousso Show is. And I hope you tune in on Sundays.
Neil A. Carousso is on the air.
He's like a fine wine. Every day goes by, I get to appreciate his genius more and more.
It's the Neil A. Carousso Show podcast on iTunes and neilacarousso.com.
We must support those who protect us. 39,500 U.S. veterans are homeless on a given night. 41% of homeless vets are between the ages of 31 and 50. Do your part to give back to our heroes. Our Heroes Night Out is a non-profit organization that helps and supports U.S. veterans by having gatherings with homeless vets at the United Veterans Beacon House at the Northport VA on Long Island, New York.
Sometimes it's just easier for people to say, well, I'll give you a check for $25. And I'm like, I don't want your money, I want your time.
Carol Klein and her husband Mark run Our Heroes Night Out. Carol's brother served in the Air Force in Vietnam, her son-in-law is a Marines vet, and her nephew is currently serving in the Navy.
Carol is a big part of helping us there. I must say, she takes her time, and you can tell from her performance that she really cares about the vets. Everybody loves this lady. They look forward to her.
Our veterans just need people to talk to about everything from the weather to sports to the news. Share your time and give back to those who risk their lives and suffer each and every day for our freedom and our nation's sovereignty. Visit mismatchtheclown.com or call Carol Klein directly at 516-579-6524 to do your part as a free American citizen. I'm Neil A. Carousso, a proud supporter of the U.S. Armed Forces and U.S. veterans, and I highly recommend Our Heroes Night Out as a trusted charity, giving back directly to those who serve and making an impact by doing so. Our Heroes Night Out of Long Island. Thank you, and God bless all those who have and continue to serve the United States of America.
Neil A. Carousso tells you what you need to know, opening up the dialogue. Straightforward talk that drives the political establishment crazy.
If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor. Period.
What, like with a cloth or something? I don't know how it works digitally at all.
He's got the knack for it. The knack for America. Subscribe to the Neil A. Carousso Show podcast on iTunes and log on to neilacarousso.com.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning.
All right, we're back on the Neil A. Carousso Show on this busy Sunday. We do have a Skype caller, so let's go to the phones. And we have Tommy calling from Los Angeles, California. Tommy, how you doing today?
Good. How you doing, Neil?
I'm
How's
doing
been?
well. All right, so I see the side of your head there.
Oh yeah, right here. I'm on a side street.
Okay, you're walking around there in sunny LA. Probably I'm a little jealous of you. But all right, what do you have for us today?
All right, so essentially you've been watching the news, and we all found that Bill O'Reilly, who's had been the #1 cable talk show for the past 11 years, 12 years, 13 years, was basically fired. This guy was seen as too big to be fired. And let's be honest, I mean, politics aside, he has the most entertaining news show on television. I know it's a commentary show, but he's fired because of some undisclosed sexual harassment claims.
Right. So just to
Yeah,
fill
he doesn't.
people in, so the New York Times published a report with a number of women that had come forward over the years with sexual harassment claims. They wrote, I don't know what their sources were, but they wrote that O'Reilly paid $13 million total to keep these women quiet. That is, we don't know if that's true or not, but this is what the New York Times reported on in a 3-page story on the front page. O'Reilly, by the way, #1 cable news link for 16 years. But yeah, go on. So you were upset that O'Reilly left.
Right. Here's the thing. Bill O'Reilly is a 70-year-old man, conservative from Long Island. He has his bias. He has his point of view. But I have to say, objectively speaking, he did a pretty fair job of reporting the news. Basically, but the biggest people who get the most airtime are liberals with the liberal media, since that's been such consuming of the culture. So that being said, sexual harassment, with Bill Cosby in recent years, has been a big thing, and I'm just a little bit mystified by the fact that they feel that they can just, this guy Bill O'Reilly has been in the news for so many years.
Yeah,
Tom,
just a question for you. If you could focus the camera on you, because I can hear you well, but yeah, it would be nice to be able to see you there. Okay, so you're disappointed that O'Reilly left. Listen, I get your point there that, the media widely, and we've talked about it, I mean, they just came out with a study, actually, that showed that 89% of media coverage of Donald Trump has been negative in his first 100 days. We know most of the people that are producing and that most of the people that are in media are generally liberal. 90% of them voted for Hillary Clinton, those who identify themselves as journalists. So, Fox News, is a conservative outlet. O'Reilly is a commentator, but to play devil's advocate here, because I have my own opinions on this situation, but listen, if he did sexually harass someone, that's inexcusable. We don't know if that's true or not. There hasn't been litigation on it. I get your sentiment that someone should be innocent until proven guilty, and oftentimes we do prejudge that. I don't know Bill myself, so I don't know if that's his personality or not. You hear rumors, I don't know what to believe. He has a lot of money. A lot of, you saw what they did to President Trump, and a lot of women came forward that have been proven false, or the media wrote stories that they came out and said the next day that, like the New York Times did a whole, front page report on women who claim that Trump sexually harassed them, then they come out and say, no, Trump, I love Donald Trump. He was great for my career, whatever. We got along well. There was nothing like that going on. So I don't know whether there are, and we know that there's a liberal media bias. I don't know whether this story is accurate or not. What I do know is that a lot of, it seems like, and I'm not excusing sexual harassment, I think it's reprehensible. I think people should be held accountable for it. But it seems like you're proven guilty before innocence, and that if you make these payments and you settle, then it makes an error that you are a sexual harasser. And maybe these women are just looking for money and just want a quick money. I don't know. Your final thoughts?
Yeah, my final thoughts. Yeah, I'll just touch on a lot of points there, so I'll just sum up with what comes to mind. Listen, when you settle because you just want things to go away, because that's just the easiest thing. If you touch on the whole issue with Trump and being accused of sexual harassment, let's be real. I mean, I don't have any proof. I don't know anybody personally, but let's be honest, I could just ruin his campaign his whole campaign, so he didn't become president. In terms of Bill, I'll just say this. The guy did a fair job at basically being a commentator, reporting the news, and I just feel that you have certain organizations being set up to basically advocate for the guy in a scenario of sexual harassment, because anytime a woman cries rape, and I get it, there are a lot of rape accusations, a lot of cases of rape, and it's terrible and needs to be stopped. But in that issue where a girl or a woman just says, I was raped, sexually harassed, you're guilty until proven innocent. And in this country, you need to be able to be proven guilty by a court of law, a jury of your peers, or a judge. But at the same time, we don't get that in that scenario. And you can't just ruin a person's legacy, career, reputation just based on one woman's claim or multiple women's claim. I just don't think we need to address that in this country. That's basically my beef.
Well, Tom, I appreciate your point of view, and we appreciate you calling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, great talking to you, Neil. Take care, man.
Have a good one.
Soon.
Take care of yourself. So, I get Tom's point. I mean, listen, it's especially on college campuses, and young people see it. It's almost like you need a notarized letter to have sex with somebody. It seems like that's that's where we're headed these days, or you're accused of sexual harassment. But just to make the point, and make the fine point, I'm not excusing sexual harassment. I don't know. No one knows what really happened with Bill O'Reilly, but he is out of options. When we come back, snowflakes versus America. That's the subject of a Real Deal segment. That's it.
When it comes to saving money,
What?
don't act like a baby.
Oh, it's like they're having their own little meeting. This is so humiliating.
Be the boss.
I'm the boss.
What the?
Power nap. You were saying.
And make a budget.
Let's get to work.
Need a little help?
Stacy, read back the notes.
I can't read. What's it say?
Create a personalized savings plan and get other tools and tips.
We can share.
You obviously didn't go to business school.
At feedthepig.org.
Neil's the real deal. Time for the real deal with Neil.
All right, well, we're back rather quickly, but the Real Deal segment today, snowflakes versus the United States stopping progress. Well, here are some examples of some of that.
Kim Jong Il do. Well, I call Kim Jong Yum Yum.
Yum yum. We call him Yum Yum here.
They make only armament. They just make things, bombs and stuff. What should be happening, and why isn't it happening?
So, we know that he is an unstable man who has nuclear weapons.
You're talking about Trump now.
About to deal with an unstable man who has nuclear weapons. What could possibly go wrong? You never want to wonder if the leader on your side is working for the country or just working for himself.
4 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms, 22 arched windows. It is also simultaneously your chance to slip $35 million into the president's pocket. And depending on your business, conceivably that might get you something even more valuable than a handcrafted Italian brass doorknob.
I don't respect this president. I don't trust this president. He's not working in the best interest of the American people. His motives and his actions are contemptible. And I will fight every day until he is impeached.
And that's their whole goal, is to impeach Trump without any basis at all. And by the way, Rachel Maddow, do you remember when Hillary Clinton stole access to the State Department that the Associated Press reported on, with over half of her meetings going towards those who donated to the Clinton Foundation, even those from Saudi Arabia, who persecute Christians and Jews and enslave women? Just a reminder there. Now, all of these people, and we don't include, I didn't want to even give people airtime that riot on college campuses. We've seen campuses like UC Berkeley and NYU being literally set on fire. I didn't even want to include that because I don't want to give them the time of day. Or other moments of the tax day protest where they're wearing, pictures of hats of the female anatomy on their head. Just absolutely disgusting. And the language that comes out of their mouth and the signs around children is absolutely what's wrong with America. What's wrong with these snowflakes in America, I should clarify. Because instead of getting behind our president when we're dealing with North Korea, who says Kim Jong-un, a menace as President Trump called him this week, wants to actually launch nuclear weapons and test nuclear weapons, and he's testing Trump. And over the past 8 years, and really before that, even since Bush and going way back before that, North Korea has developed their nuclear arsenal. And they're threatening our very U.S. homeland and our allies. And then you have radical Islamic terrorist attacks in Fresno, California this week, and a radical ideology that seeks to destroy America and American values. The Iran nuclear deal, we sent billions of dollars to Iran, and what do? They use that right up front, and they may very well have, nuclear capability, and there's no accountability. So with all of these challenges that President Trump is facing, it's time to, and I always say this, support our president, get behind him. Okay? Because if you just complain, you're not actually doing any action. You're all talk, no action. How about we get behind someone who's facing a more dangerous foreign policy and more dangerous threats than ever before? And I'm out of time. But that's the Real Deal segment of the Neil A. Carousso Show for today. We'll see you next week when we analyze President Trump's 100 days in office.